We will start the meeting by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't think that many of the people on here have a flag, but I think if Commissioner Schaefer would lead us in reciting the pledge, I think we use that to open the meeting.
He's on mute.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States and to the
republic
which
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone who's on. Remind you this is a public meeting and a record is being kept of the proceedings. With that, we'll move on. Any awards, recognition, or correspondence?
I have none.
I have none.
Okay. We have minutes of two previous meetings, January 6th, 2021 and February 3rd, 2021. Any changes or corrections? Motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
None that I am aware of.
Okay.
No.
Do we have any input from the public prior to the start of the meeting for something we're not covering?
Yes, sir.
Did I hear someone speak?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Would you please identify yourself?
Yes. This is Cheryl Kroll from Hermiston.
All right, and you would like to address the board?
I would, sir.
Okay, well, proceed. I think all of the commissioners have received and had an opportunity to read the materials you provided us. So I would say we want to give you time to state what you want to say, but I do know that we've already read the comments. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, commissioners. I do thank you for your time this morning. I will highlight from the articles I emailed to your office and quickly get to my point. I'd like to start with a quote of the interview with Mark Levin on Fox News with Sean Hannity. Mr. Levin is talking about the President Biden's executive orders that are unconstitutional, pointing out a couple, and those would be the federalization of state election laws that violate Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the Constitution, talking about statehood of D.C., District of Columbia. That goes against the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. And very quickly, another executive order that's destroying women's sports in this country for biological females. This violates the protection clause of the 5th and 14th Amendments. Going to our state, I'm quoting an article, July 31st, 2020. This is from the East Oregonian. Governor Kate Brown says COVID-19 spike, the political stalemate, led to the rollback of the county. Within this article, the Health Department, the Oregon Health Authority, reported on July 31st the total COVID cases in Oregon standing at 18,492. When I researched the population of Oregon, for 2020, I found that about 4.24 million people lived in Oregon in 2020. Using those figures of 4.24 million people and of July of 18,492 cases, that came up to 0.4%, 0.4%. If I may refer to the February 3rd Umatilla County Commissioners meeting on video, I did listen to that, and Commissioner Doran read a portion of the letter written by Chairman Murdoch to Kate Brown, Governor Brown. Our voices not being heard. Commissioner Stafford commented, "Can't wait for the governor to read it, but unfortunately won't go much further than that." I hear every day, whether it's in person or social media, from my fellow Americans, what can we do? And I'm elated to say that Americans are responding with solutions. An article, September 1st, 2020, Oregon sheriffs rebuke and reject Governor Kate Brown's request for help in Portland. February 9th, 2021, Representative David Brock Smith has introduced a bill designed to limit Governor Kate Brown's power to shut down businesses during the, quote, coronavirus pandemic. And recently, of February 13th, a business owner out of Grants Pass posted signs on their business referring to the Oregon statute 2017 ORS 105.700. And with this sign reads, "Warning, no trespassing. This is the Alibi Tavern in Grants Pass. Any official from OSHA, any health authorities, or any government officials who are here on any government business, including unconstitutional mandates, such as mask wearing and lockdowns, are excluded from entering this property. If you violate this notice, we will call the sheriff to enforce this no trespass notice." In addition to that, the owners say, "I will file a lawsuit to sue you in private capacity, for it is a crime to violate this warning and enforce a mandate that is not law. You should get another job. Your boss has put you in harm's way. Enforcing an unconstitutional mandate or law is a felony. All other people are welcome. Thank you for coming." I would like to say that, yes, sir, I'd like to say that individuals make a difference. And I would also like to say that, referring to another article of April 2014, the Umatilla County Sheriff's Office decision, along with 30 other counties, enacted Oregon sanctuary counties. And this is regarding the ICE enforcement. My last document I would like to speak about is December 22nd, 2020. The Board of Commissioners in Oshkosh County, Indiana, passed and adopted a resolution supporting the protection of rights under the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana. In closing, with the material I have shared with you and the daily and federal news that we hear every day, I'm asking the Commissioners of Umatilla County to vote unanimously by your next meeting to establish a resolution supporting the protection of the rights under the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence, the three founding documents of the United States. County Commissioners, make a difference. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time in presenting. As a matter of practice and protocol, commissioners do not respond to public comment. However, they may have questions of clarification they wish to ask. Does either commissioner have a question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the information.
No, I don't. I've received and read the documents. I don't have any question either. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll refer to this matter at a later date. Move on into our regular agenda. The first is an RFP for insurance services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Lanai with Director of Administrative Services for the county. And before you is a request to go out for an RFP for our agent of record for our liability insurance and property insurance. We are required to do this every so often, and it's been a little while. 2013 was the last time we went out for RFP. Currently, Franny Graybill is our current agent of record, and there's no issue with them. It's just we need to do this to open it up to allow people within the county to bid on this and to be our agent of record. Just want permission to move forwards with that. Any questions?
Do they insure spaceships?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Dan, along with that, didn't our agent actually retire also?
Dick just retired at the end of December, and Brittany Graybill is our new representative that's replacing him, and that's not necessarily the issue. They've been good to work with, and we've dealt with multiple people in the office there, but yes, he has retired. Dick has been an amazing person to work with. We've had a great relationship with him. But yeah, there is a little bit of change there, but this is not a result of that change, so it's just the fact that we do this every so many years to give other people an opportunity and make sure the county is getting the best representation possible.
Thanks, Dan. I would, especially for discussion, and I apologize, but I would move for approval of the RFP for insurance administration.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 I do want to say one thing. Thank you, Commissioner. I misspoke. It's Brittany Beamer, not Graybill. I said the wrong last name there, so.
You're all right.
So, Dan, it looks like you can go forth and prosper.
All right, thank you.
Dan, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I think it's critical that we do that with insurance services, banking services, and other major contracts. So thank you for keeping that in front of us. You have a second item as well, I think.
Yes, Commissioner, I do. Before you is the need to go out to hire a maintenance person to replace our current maintenance position out at the Justice Center. Let me back up a little bit. Our current employee's been there since 2015, and 2005. He's been there for 15 years, is what I meant to say. And he is retiring in August. And Commissioner Schaefer probably can speak to this. The jail is a mysterious place. There's all sorts of tunnels, pipings. It has all sorts of nuances that it's pretty complicated to maintain that building. And what we want to do is do a double fill for 4 months to have this person to start to be trained by the current personnel at the jail so they can start to understand how things work out there and figure things out instead of just dropping them out there cold turkey and not knowing this history that he developed over the last 15 years. So it's a double fill of that position. Hopefully starting in April, we'll have somebody online there. Any questions?
Well, the presence of so many tunnels is particularly intriguing. Comments or questions from Commissioner Schaefer or Commissioner Thorne?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to reiterate what Dan was saying. There is a lot to this job. Richard's done a really good job with it. But he definitely needs the time to give some of his knowledge to his replacement, for sure.
Well, I think when the time comes, we need to particularly express our appreciation to Richard. I know that he is on call virtually 24/7. I've heard stories about it. He's somewhat legendary. His response to anything and everything that happens at the jail. And it's going to be a very, very difficult person to replace.
Don't tell him that yet, because his ego, I don't think can handle it.
Yes, he will be difficult to replace. He's done an amazing job out there, and he's well liked by the staff, I'm sure. Vern would reiterate that too.
Definitely. We're going to miss it.
Yeah, Commissioner, this is the under sheriff. How are you guys this morning?
Good, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I just want to reiterate how valuable Richard has been for the jail and for the building in general. Just this weekend we had the main gate freeze up, and of course it always happens in the middle of the night at an inopportune time, but we call Richard and he comes down and takes care of things. So that's been what he's done for the last 8 years that I've been here. So we will greatly miss him. Just having him around in general, in addition to his knowledge, is always interesting to talk to him. So we do support this proposal, and hopefully we can get somebody trained. Hopefully, eventually to the level that Richard is, but this is a good start. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, with that, I would move authorization to recruit and double fill the maintenance 2 position, primarily assigned to the jail facility for 4 months beginning April 15th of 2021.
Is there a second?
Dan's muted.
Yeah, he's muted.
I'll second it.
I'll second, okay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Moving on to a radio purchase.
Captain Thorner, the radio system is in need of upgrades. We need a new base station, a repeater, and 20 handheld radios to move the system to 100% digital. As it is, some of the radio transmissions do not come through either the handsets or the base station in control. This creates a safety and security issue, both corrections and support staff. And we've got the quote from Business Radio Incorporated. They are out of Kennewick, and it's $17,584 to replace our existing base set. I talked Robert Paul about this, and he requested that I get a couple more quotes. So I went online, and the next closest place, there was one distributor for Kindle radios in the valley. I called and talked to them. They said, we don't do that kind of work. So the next place was up in Washington. I called them, never got an answer, never got a real person. I sent them an email, and that was 2 months ago. They still haven't responded. I discussed it with Robert, and we've got the money in a different line item. So he said, go ahead and put the pinky in and run it by you guys.
I actually had a little bit of a conversation. I know these are tough to find, there's no doubt about it. Thomas, my question is, what kind of warranty are we getting out of these?
That's a good question. I've never talked to them about warranty. The radios that we have gotten past, we dealt with these people for years. I can ask about a warranty.
No, it's not. I was just curious. I know that through some of the radios that we've purchased at the fair over the years, we've had some pretty good luck with warranty and coverage from the same folks you're talking to. So,
Yeah.
I would move for approval of the Gale radios to the corrections division.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you. Thank you, Thorne. Joe, I see you were on there, Joe. Oh, there you are. Position reclassification for public health.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, this is Joe, Public Health Director for Umatilla County. What I'm asking for is to reclassify our current environmental health lead inspector to an environmental health supervisor position. When we did the reorg a while back, that position essentially sat unfilled. That was some duties I was filling myself as the director and as the environmental health supervisor. Especially with the pandemic and the pickup of workload that we've had over the last year and is going to continue for at least the next year, I haven't been able to fulfill some of those duties the way somebody else would be able to do so. And so would ask that we have Megan Linhart, that person who's currently in that position, appointed as the supervisor starting March 1st. And then she'll be able to kind of pick up some of those duties that I've been not able to get to myself.
Well, we appreciate the load you've been carrying. I don't know that we thought that a year later you would still be so preoccupied with your leadership of COVID activities and so forth. So I think we've been very fortunate to have somebody that well qualified in the position. So I would actually make the motion for the reclassification.
Second.
Questions? Any more questions of Joe?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Wolf Committee appointment.
No, wait. Isn't there another position?
What?
Creation of position?
Yeah, we also have the.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Joe, you're still on.
Yeah, so on the hope that the previous one would be passed, with Megan taking the position as supervisor, at the beginning of the next fiscal year, we're actually going to shift some of the emergency preparedness duties over to her, help work on a lot of our preparedness plans. While we've been making a lot of progress, practical point on all of that with the pandemic, it has left our written plans very far behind, and a lot of the information needs to be brought up so we don't lose the knowledge and experience that we've been going through this year and are able to apply that moving forward. but in doing so would pull her out of the field for more time. In addition, our septic workload has continued to increase year over year, and our inspector who is completing that work it's all he can do to stay on top of that at the moment without increasing wait times. And so we'd like to create another position which would be effective with the new fiscal year in July to hire an EHS 1 or 2 depending on qualifications.
All right, questions of Joe?
Joe, looking at the difference between the specialist 1 or specialist 2, when you say qualifications, obviously they have to go through the certification program for the food inspection and septic inspection. Do you anticipate being able to find somebody with those certifications already in place?
It's always a chance. We never know until we go looking. Typically, what we find is somebody who comes in as an entry level as a 1, and then spends the next 2 years going through the training, doing the education, and acquiring the certification. Currently on my staff, I have 2 individuals who did the latter, came in as entry level and have moved up as they earned that experience. And we actually do have 1 person on staff who came in with that certification upon hire. So it's always a chance. We usually go out looking, hoping to find somebody who knows how to do all of this, but also understanding very good chance we're looking for somebody who we can train and get through that process.
Okay, thanks. I know it's an important position, so just curious. I would move for approval of the creation of the position Specialist 1, Specialist 4, Specialist 2, depending on qualifications.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Joe, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Just a quick note for Commissioner Dorn's benefit. Would you describe the scope of your coverage?
As far as
what area do you cover? Where do you provide your service?
for the environmental health, we provide that for both Umatilla and Morrow counties at this point. We do both the food pool lodging program as well as the on-site septic system program administered under DEQ guidance. And both of those are very busy. Obviously, this year has been a little different with COVID. Most of the staff have been reassigned to COVID assistance most of the time. But in a normal year, the staff complete approximately 1,500 to 1,700 inspections in the course of the year.
Yeah. Thanks, George, for that. Being involved with food courts and those type of things, I understand the enormity of the position.
Joe, we've had people, the state wanting us to take on other responsibilities for septic approval. Does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, coming DEQ words to me is, they would give us all of Eastern Oregon if we so wanted it. The problem lies in that it doesn't fiscally support itself, which is also part of why they want to hand it off. We did have, we were involved in discussions prior to COVID, around Umatilla County for food pool lodging program, which always comes with the potential for doing something for septic there as well. Due to some personnel shifts that happened, we stepped out of that. And of course, in the hindsight of a pandemic, I am very glad we did not take that on, because that would have happened going into that. You never know what the future brings, but it's always something where we're looking to help folks out as much as we're able to. We provide support where we can, and there are other programs. We do inspections at both the prisons on contract. We do a lot of other contract inspections for facilities around the area who need somebody to come in and provide a sanitation inspection, if you will, even if it's not licensed under us.
It's always been fascinating to me that you would think the health inspector's an ominous presence, but I know at some of our major events like Roundup and the fair and so forth, they are very, very welcome, because we would have a significant amount of, there would be a significant amount of liability if something happened with that multitude of food vendors. So I think they do a wonderful service. So thanks, Joe.
No, we are, it is an education first model, and we are in no, we no more want to shut down these places than they themselves want to shut down.
Okay, Wolf Depredation Committee.
This is coming before the board to fill the vacancy on the Wolf Deprivation Advisory Committee created by the end of the term of Commissioner Alfring. Oh, excuse me, this is wrong. The update of the county representative from Commissioner Schaefer to Commissioner Dorn.
With that, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve to adopt order DCC 2021-018.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, board meeting schedule.
The second board meeting scheduled in April conflicts with the budget hearings, and so the proposal is to move it up a date so it'll be on Tuesday the 21st rather than on Wednesday. And so that change is before the board for approval.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Vehicle leases.
The Fleet Management Fund is proposing to lease some additional vehicles for various departments, for the use of for various departments in the county, and including that would be 2 pickups for assessment and taxation to replace some of their vehicles. So those leases for those 6 vehicles are before the board for approval.
Your motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. As part of commissioner comment, Commissioner Dorn, you're representing commissioners on the flood committee. You probably have a more official name, but I do know from your report yesterday that Rob Corbett, the city manager, asked that we participate in sharing publicly whatever information we have. So can you do that for us?
Yeah, in fact, I think it's very important right now because with this weather that we've had over the last 5 days, they're not just in the Pendleton area or the east end of the county, throughout the county and Morrow County, there's a big fear right now in the back of the minds of a lot of people that we have some ominous floods headed our way just because of the snowpack. The good news is we've kind of lucked out or have circumstances in several areas that look like, at least for the next 7 to 10 days, there will be no flooding in the forecast. The long-term forecast is much the same. A couple of reasons for that is because of the snow in the mountains. We're just now getting back up to normal snowfall. The snow that we did receive, the water content was lower than for lay terms, a heavy snow. As you probably realized, if you tried to make snowballs, it didn't make very good snowballs or snowmen, but it did make really good messes throughout the county. The other great news is when asked, and we had people from NOAA, BLM, National Weather Service, and others, so we did have the experts on the line or on the call, is that the ground itself hasn't frozen deep so that there is not much moisture at all in the ground, which means that even through the floodplains, the moisture that we will get from the melt should be absorbed very quickly. And even if we had another heavy rain, the ground is dry enough to absorb it. Now, anything can change at any time, but the forecast right now, even long-term out to 21 days, shows that there is no potential for flooding right now. Again, weather changes, but I think that everybody that does have that fear in the back of their head, and rightfully so with last year's historic floods, that can take a deep breath and understand that at least in the short, through 21 days, that there is no prediction of flooding in the forecast. And I think that's very important to get out to a lot of people, because the apprehension, it comes through on every phone call, at every discussion. So I think Rob Corbett was exactly correct that it's going to be important to get that information out. Thank you for the opportunity, Chairman.
You're muted.
Other additional commissioner comment?
I will just tag on to what Commissioner Doran just reported. It was also the dry snow made it a whole lot easier to shovel my driveway.
One thing, you're exactly right, Commissioner Schaefer, that's for sure. The one thing that I didn't add, Chairman Murdoch, is that the same group of people, we're not going to put everything on the back shelf. This group will be meeting weekly in the near and long-term future throughout this spring to make sure that if there is any indication that we have warning and warning for the folks. But hopefully that they're very short meetings from now on.
Good. Commissioner Schaefer, anything else?
I have nothing further, thank you.
All right, well, thank you for your.
Chairman Murdoch, can I add one other item, please?
Sure.
I would like to thank our road department and the public works department for the yeoman's job that they put in over the last several days. I know that there were individuals that didn't feel like that they had gotten too quick enough, but I'd like to remind everyone that this was a historic storm in several ways, but one of the biggest is this storm didn't just hit the foothills or just hit the Pendleton and Milton Free Waters, or didn't just hit the breaks of the Columbia along Pima and Weston and Helix. This storm hit throughout the county, and with that said, every bit of equipment that normally gets shared throughout the county to be used had to be used locally, whether it was in the West End. They had up to 17 inches there too. And I just would like to really thank our Public Works Department for the work that they put in. And I talked to our roadmaster this morning, and they're in the process of widening areas that they cleared just for egress and regress. And now they're out there widening, getting back to making sure that the roads are fully open. So thank you for giving me the time, but I think it's important that we recognize the work that they did this past 5 days.
I think it's important that while it was fortunate that the crux of the snowfall occurred on a 3-day weekend when people didn't have to get to work, I don't believe that had a positive impact on the public works crew, who probably didn't have much of a 3-day weekend. So, anything else to add?
None for me.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.